Okay, so now that I've given you my insights on why I price the way I do, I now want to give you some general pricing strategies to help you avoid pricing pitfalls that a lot of startup companies make and to help you sell more product. Generally, your price is going to fall into one of these three categories. Number one is competitive pricing, which is setting a price based on what your competition charges. Number two is penetration pricing, which is setting a price lower than the competition to enter a competitive market and then raise the price later. Number three is premium pricing, which is setting your price higher than the competition and claiming that you're the best product out there, thus the reason for your higher prices. Full-Time Filmmaker kind of uses all three of these strategies. I price competitively to other successful courses out there, but if you compare me to a traditional film school, my prices are way lower than a university's tuition fees. But if you compare it to free YouTube tutorials, it's a premium product claiming to be much better than all the free content out there and thus a lot higher priced. So really, depending on who you're competing against and which target market you're after, you could fall into all three of these categories. Keep in mind that each of these pricing strategies is a two-edged sword. What attracts some customers will turn off others. And we'll be showing you throughout the rest of this marketing section how to build value for your products so that you can hit on mental triggers for both the low and high pricing audiences. I recommend being more on the premium price side if you can, because that's where more money is to be made. But again, if you have to start out at a lower price to penetrate into that market, you may have to go that route. But I now want to give you 10 pricing strategy tips that will help you no matter which of these three price ranges you decide to be in. Tip number one is to use price anchoring. This is the idea that if you show your product's price after you've shown it next to a much more expensive product, it will look like a bargain. I do this in my webinar by building the value of my product as being worth more than a semester at film school, which could cost upward of $5,000. Then I go on to say that Full-Time Filmmaker only costs $800. And then right after that, I tell them that if you join right now during this webinar, you can join for 25% off at $600. So even though my course is somewhat of a premium product, when it's compared to a real premium product, like a film school's tuition fee, it seems like a bargain and a no-brainer, and this is called price anchoring. Tip number two is what I call the constant discount. This is the idea that you're almost always running some kind of sale or promotion. The clothing company Express is a great example of this. Every time I walk past their store in the mall, there's a sign that says anything from 20 to 50% off. I've never not seen a sale going on. But if you pay attention, they price their clothes about 20 to 50% higher than their competitors. So their clothes actually cost about the same as other stores, but they make themselves feel more premium by pricing way higher and then constantly offering discounts. With Full-Time Filmmaker, I run a webinar every day that offers 25% off every single day. So most people are buying at that constant discount price of $5.99. That way they all feel like they're getting a great deal on a premium product, which eases their purchasing pain points, which is tip number three, identify and address purchasing pain points. According to neuroeconomic experts, the human brain is wired to spend till it hurts. So here's a few tips within this tip to keep the spending from hurting. Number one is to reframe the product's value. I tell people in my webinar, I know $599 sounds like a lot, but look at it this way. If this course can help you just land one wedding gig or one real estate gig, then it will pay for itself. And if you apply what I teach, I promise it will do a whole lot more than help you land one paying gig. Tip number two is to bundle or bonus items. After I pitch the value of my initial product, the online course, I then build even more value to take away some of the hurt of paying for that $600 price tag by offering discounts on software and gear, access to a private Facebook group, access to regular video contests, personal mentorship, free music, free sound effects, free presets, free LUTs, and so on. So they feel like they're getting so much more for the price, thus easing the pain of buying. And speaking of free, the next tip is to use the word free. Free is a very powerful word. That's why I'm constantly using the word free. Free webinar, free content in my emails, free content on YouTube channel, free bonuses when you buy. People love getting stuff for free and it eases the pain of spending money. So those are just a couple ways to ease the pain points, but pain points will differ depending on the product. So pay attention to the pain points of your customers by asking ones who don't buy why they didn't buy, and the ones who do buy but refund after why they refunded, and then address those pain points in your future marketing and advertising efforts. On to tip number four is limiting purchasing options. It's important to limit people's choices to avoid action paralysis. Too many options can can demotivate your customer. For Full-Time Filmmaker, I do provide a 6-monthly payment plan option because some people just can't afford the upfront cost, and about 15% of my customers do choose this monthly option. But I make the decision very easy to choose the upfront option by discounting the upfront option to be $300 less overall than the 6-monthly payment plan. So that way, the monthly option is still available for those who can't afford it, but it is logically the best option to choose the upfront payment. So if you do decide to do multiple payment plans, I wouldn't get carried away with too many options and make sure your upfront option stands out as the best deal to make the decision easy. Tip number 5 is similarity costs you sales. As I mentioned, don't give multiple pricing options that are the same. This will make the decision hard, thus reducing the amount of people who make a decision at all. According to research from Yale, if 2 items are priced similarly, the customer is much less likely to buy either of them. In one experiment, researchers had users choose to either buy or pass and keep the money on 2 different packs of gum, and only 46% made a purchase at all when both packs were priced at 63 cents. Whereas when the packs of gum were differently priced at 62 cents and 64 cents, more than 77% of consumers chose to buy one of the 2 packs. That is a huge increase in sales. So make sure if you have similar products or multiple price products that you price them differently to make the decision easy. Tip number 6 is the number 9. Ending the price with the number 9 is one of the oldest pricing methods in the book, but doesn't really work. According to research, the answer is a resounding yes. In studies that have been done, prices ending in 9 were so effective that they were able to outsell even lower prices for the exact same product. In comparing the prices $35 versus $39 for women's clothes, a study found that prices ending in 9 were able to outperform the lower price on an average by 24%. The idea is to charge as much as possible while making it look like the price is low. My price of $5.99 looks like $500 when it's really $600, but the brain sees the 5 first and makes it feel like a whole $100 less expensive. The number 7 has also been shown to be a popular sales number. I've used both 9 and 7 as the last digit in my prices, and I've seen great results with both, so I highly recommend using this method. Tip number 7 is to never compare prices without a reason. If you go about it the wrong way, raving about your low prices can actually decrease sales. The act of comparative pricing can cause unintended effects on consumer evaluations if there's no context as to why the price is supposed to be compared. It can cause prospective buyers to lose trust in your quality or value if they don't understand why your price is lower. The focus should be on why your prices are cheaper, not just the fact that they are cheaper. This is a great selling point for selling online courses. We can be much cheaper than traditional higher education because our overhead is so much lower. So let your potential customers know why your prices are lower than your competition. Tip number 8 is Weber's Law, which states that the noticeable difference between 2 stimuli is directly proportional to the magnitude of the stimuli. In other words, if and when you raise your prices, the magic number seems to be somewhere around a 10% raise. Since that difference is typically not noticed by consumers, or noticed but accepted, and isn't likely to stir up any customer complaints. Now, I haven't personally raised my price on Full-Time Filmmaker, but if I did, I would do it incrementally. If you recall, my one attempt to raise my Premiere Pro mini course price from $129 to $199 completely stopped my sales. Had I raised it by only $10, I probably wouldn't have seen much of a huge dip in sales. So raise or lower your prices incrementally until you find that sweet spot for the most profitability. Tip number 9 is to keep prices stupidly simple. In a research paper published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology, researchers found that prices that contained more characters seemed drastically higher to consumers. When these prices were shown to subjects, the top 2 prices seemed much higher to consumers than the third price. So if you're trying to make your price seem low, use the least amount of characters as possible. And if you're trying to compare your price to something else that is priced higher, then tack on those characters. Our 10th and final tip is to utilize Black Friday. And because this is a big one, I'm actually going to dedicate a full video to it, and so we'll discuss that in the next video. But that's it for pricing. Hopefully that helps you guys identify some good pricing strategies to be aware of and to potentially implement into your pricing model. But that's it, guys, for pricing strategies. If you guys have any further questions, please let me know.